Hey everybody, this is Chuck, aka Exciel. You may know me from like either Twitter or whatever, or HPT, that IMAS guy. Well, anyway, today I'm gonna do something different than I usually do, in that I'm gonna be, instead of my usual blog posts, I'm gonna try to do like a podcast sort of a recording. You might remember, if you follow any of the writings or anything I do on my blog, that I did like start a video kind of series, which ended up I never making a second video, and I didn't like that format. I don't know, I'm just not good at it, so I'm gonna try something different today, and yeah, it'll be in the form of like a podcast. So today I wanted to talk about a couple different things that have been happening recently with IMAS. I recently came back from Japan from the producer meeting, the latest IMAS event with Namco Pro. So I didn't get to share because, okay, if you follow any of the stuff I do, I also co-host on Hokago P Times, their own podcast radio show we do. I do it with Kurotsky, who probably doesn't need very much introduction. But on that radio show, I don't get to talk a lot about my own personal feelings and experiences, and I just think that if I had my own personal kind of talking, I don't want to say my own show, because that's a little bit a lot to say for now, for me just doing this first episode. So anyway, so most recently, as of this recording that I'm doing right now, the big news that happened was the Side M is getting an anime, which is, I think, very shocking to a lot of people, because it's relatively quick in IMAS history to get an anime this fast, and a lot of people were expecting Million Live to get it before Side M. So I'll talk a little bit about my feelings on that, since I know a lot of people have some strong feelings about that right now. Producer meeting, I'll go over first. There's a lot to talk about. Producer meeting, let's see. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's start some background first. In case you're absolutely new to listening to me, you don't know me, and you're just listening to this because I don't know why, but I've been into IMAS for the past almost 6 years now. That's about how long the anime Idolmaster, the anime version, came out. 5 or 6 years. There's no date when I became an IMAS P. But it was sometime after I watched the anime that, I got into the rabbit hole. And IMAS has changed a lot since, 5 years ago. Both in Japan and outside in the West. Things are very different, and today we live in basically the future I always wanted back then. Because back then it was so lonely. I felt like the only IMAS fan in the West, and it might have been true at some point. No, not, I'm exaggerating, but it was very difficult to find other fans in IMAS, and especially those like me who were also into the seiyuu, into the more difficult parts of the franchise to get without experience in understanding Japanese and any sort of that stuff. So, where was I going with this? With producer meeting, it was the last time in 5 years, since 2012, that all of the seiyuu for the cast for Idolmaster Namco Pro have been together at an event on stage, at a live. They were together at Uchiage meeting for the IMAS movie, but this is like the first time that they performed together, because a lot of things have happened in the past couple years. A lot of them got married, a lot of them have had kids, so a lot of things have happened. And for me, somebody who's been into IMAS for this long now, I really wanted to, I couldn't let this opportunity slip, so I went to P meeting. The event itself was very... I don't think it's what a lot of people were expecting it to. A lot of people... Okay, I came into this too. A lot of people came into P meeting expecting like a full-blown live, which I did too. I was expecting it to be like just like ninth live, because it was the same venue and all too. And I was expecting it to be basically like a like fifth or seventh again, where it's the whole cast of everybody and they're all just doing songs. And it wasn't. A lot of it was talk. Then they had drama parts too. And it wasn't... I think, okay, what I'm trying to get at is I think a lot of people were a little disappointed that they weren't getting that whole, like, everybody together doing a live experience again, because right now I feel like Namco Pro P's producers, and this is the heart of what I'm getting at, okay, a lot of Namco Pro producers feel like this series has moved on without them. As we continue forward to where Cinderella Girls, Million Live, and Sidem grows, the Namco Pro Ps from the old days, which is my generation now and older, feel a little bit not left behind, but ignored. So the result of that is a lot of them have like this pent up energy that they really want to release, you know, and it's very visible. That Namco Pro Ps from the old days, I feel like they just want to shout and scream their love for Namco Pro, because they still love them a lot. You know, I do too. And I understand a lot of those feelings, you know, coming from the same background now. But P meeting, I visually saw that, because so many people prepared for this live, like, so hard. They bought so many Ultra Oranges ready to just destroy them all and unleash them on Kirame Kirari, but it never really happened. The event did have live moments, but you know, for the most part they were the same songs for both days, and we were pretty much able to guess what all the songs were going to be, because they were all the new songs. But my opinion entirely on the P meeting, for me, it was a very, like, irreplaceable experience. Having everybody there again. Having them do the drama part was also very, very important to me, because it's like I didn't go just to see the Seiyu. I went to go see the 2D characters too, who somehow feels like I haven't seen in a while. So, you know, of course I was tearing up when they were doing those things. Also seeing Sanpei again, Minorin. Sanpei in particular, very, very, very special to see. With her and Ritsuko, Ryochin and Ritsuko talking together, it was just so incredible to see that happen in real life. And it was the first time Sanpei really came back to Namco Pro, a live event for Namco Pro, in, she said, like 8 years, which is, you know, that's about right. And it's a perfect segue into Side M now, where Ryo is, you know, part of the unit flag. So, which they just had their event Side M second. So that's a perfect segue into, you know, my next topic. But on the subject of Namco Pro P still, it's a very tough kind of situation. I can only speak out of my own opinion, and so everything I say, you know, I'm a disclaimer. Everything I say is only coming from me. I can only say things that, you know, I can only say it because I have had my own experiences with Namco Pro. And for me, okay, I get these tweets sometimes to me where people will say, you know, I just can't fully accept Cinderella Girls or Million Live yet. My heart's still with Namco Pro. And for me, I get that, you know. It's, you know, there were times where I felt this same way. I couldn't, you know, at the very beginning I couldn't stand Cinderella Girls. I was, you know, very against change, all those things, you know. I might as well have been a Love Lifer for all, you know, basically. But now the difference is that, I don't know, maybe at some point I was able to find a way to grow up with IMS. It's easier for me to say because I was there at 10th. I was there at P meeting. I was there at 9th. I've been able to experience things in IMS that Japanese people don't get to experience and would kill to have been where I was. So I'm very, very, very fortunate and very, very, I've been blessed with opportunities that, and it's not, I'm not trying to show off here. It's just, I'm a very lucky person, and I have a lot of gratitude to give for all the people who have helped, make those opportunities for me exist. And because I've had such great, experiences with IMS, it's easier for me to be able to go. I think that the way IMS is now with Namco Pro, it's not. I'm okay with I don't want to say it's ending, but I'm okay with it like being the way it is, where Namco Pro is no longer in the starlight, because to me that is proof that they did, they were shining. They made it to the top. Is that we can have these things now. 3 different spin-off series, and all 3 of them are doing pretty well. Extremely well. They shaped the entire industry right now. Idol anime and MOBA game. So I don't know. In other words, I think that I want to trust the decisions that the staff behind IMS are making. Up to this point, they've always, we've had our ups and downs, but ultimately I have no regrets. Sticking with this far. I think I can trust them with the directions and choices they make. And I know not everybody's going to agree with me, but for me, I'm okay with the way things are. Maybe it's just because I've done this for a long time enough now that I'm okay with most things. But it's not to say too that Cinderella Girls, Million Live, and Side M are all not worth investing time and supporting as well, because they are. Cinderella Girls needs little introduction these days. Million Live was something that I gone in and out of, really being into. Like, Million Live is very unique, I'll say that much. There's a lot of different points of interest with it, from the music, the lives, the events. It's marketed differently than Namco Pro originally ever was, and that Cinderella Girls is. So even if you don't like everything of Million Live, there's usually at least like a couple areas that might hit you. So for me, it's been pretty obvious on Twitter that I just finished reading the Million Live manga lately, which for me was a very helpful and necessary take onto the whole universe of Million Live, because before that I've only had the games, but they don't entirely establish some kind of like plot or like universe. And for me, it was the same problem with Cinderella Girls. I couldn't get into it before the anime really because of that same reason. So if you're really sad that Side M is getting an anime before Million Live, I would say definitely read the Million Live manga. It's not gonna like make the next couple of years that you might have to wait for Million Live anime go by quicker, but I mean, it's something. It's very good too, I'll say. Million Live manga was incredible to me. I've read a lot of the Namco Pro manga, and Million Live was probably better than every single one of them. And that's coming from someone who really loves Namco Pro mangas too, especially the Bannamu ones, with Ai-chan, Eddie, and Ryo. I really love those, and yet I will have to say I did like Million Live more. So I guess the topic at hand is Side M getting the anime first. For me, Side M, I don't know. I've never been against or like to... I've never been devoted or not devoted to Side M. It's always been there for me. And I mean that in that I don't like go out of my way currently to invest in Sidem, but I have also invested. I've listened to the music. I've researched the characters, because there are a lot of things. First and foremost, I love Jupiter, so that's what got my attention at first. Ryochin, obviously, and this is just because I'm an Ulsan Namco Propi. I've watched the lives. I don't know all the characters very well in Sidem, but I know the very obvious ones. And everybody really likes Sem, and I really like them too because I like their songs the most. What I'm trying to get is that Sidem is something I think I can be very excited for. I just don't really have the substance yet. Same way that I didn't for Million Live before I read the manga and Cinderella Girls. So, as long as Namco Pro repeats himself, like with the Cinderella Girls anime, I think I'm gonna be, pretty into Sidem when the time comes, because I'm very looking forward to see how the plot unfolds. Because Sidem, you could think of it as a sequel to IMAS as well. I mean, so was Cinderella Girls and Million Live, but it's the future of Jupiter. What happened after they broke up from Kuroi? So obviously Jupiter's not the main, but it's part of it. It's the same sekai, the same universe. So I am actually very excited to see how these things unfold. As for it coming before Million Live, I think this does make sense. At first, I would say I was a little disappointed. I was definitely surprised, but it makes sense to me. If you're free to disagree with me here, but I do think it taps into a market that is largely I don't want to say ignored, because there are certainly already other male idol franchises out there, and a lot of them are very popular too. But as far as like the Idol Master thing goes, there have been very many, okay, not very many, but a big part of IMAS fans have been female up to this date, and I do think that Side M being something that a lot of them can enjoy is also like important to address. I don't want to like do the like, oh, we're hitting the Fujoshi market kind of thing, but we are too. There's a different audience. Let's be honest. There's a different audience between having female idols and male idols. There's gonna be obviously a different what's the word I'm looking for? A demographic, And I'm not saying only guys or girls can only like one or the other, but I don't know. I'm not sure what my point is here. I just think that I think it's fair to have Side M come out right now. And then you're gonna go, what was it? Is it unfair to have Million Live not come out? Nah, I don't know. Side M though, I do think right now it's an important time for it to really flourish. I'm very surprised, not surprised, but surprised and very excited to see. Like, I get excited when I see so many people love Side M and show their love for Side M, because man, the responses that it got, Side M second got on Twitter from like so many people. It's very, very, very cool and intoxicating to see so many people have so much love for this series. And for me, Side M is still very new to me. I'm not the master of Side M, so maybe a lot of people have a lot of things to teach me for once. Actually, not for once. A lot of people have always been teaching me a lot of things. But, especially in the English community, Side MPs in the West are they're already very established, and that's surprising to me because I don't know when that happened. So I think that's cool. Feel free to disagree with what I believe, but I think Sidem going now is a good choice because, especially too because Million Live, other people, you probably heard other people say this, but Million Lives is the future of Namco Pro, so having it come last makes sense. And I don't think that's like that's not the one reason why Sidem should go first, but it's a collection of the current times that I think that makes it this order go okay. And in the end, as long as we get it, then who cares? It's just a matter of being patient. So when the Million Live anime does happen, it'll be bomb. It's gonna be awesome. Let's just give Sidem our chance. For the people who are not already into it, I think we should give it a chance. The same way that Namco Pro Ps also had to give Cinderella Girls a chance when it got the anime, Alright, well, thanks for listening to me talk about, ramble, actually, because I haven't actually sorted out all my thoughts on this yet. But in any case, that's more or less how I feel. IMS is just like, it's the best. No matter what happens from here on out. I always remember Mingos' quote. Mingos from After 7th, and that's 5 years ago now, so man. But anyway, After 7th, she said on her blog, back when she used to blog actually, IMS has always been about going towards that unknown future. It's always going to be scary. We're always going to be afraid of, we don't know what's going to happen. We might fail. But that's always been the heart of what IMAS is, progressing towards that change. A lot of people really want IMAS to, like, Namco Pro to have like a third vision, to reboot again, have a sequel of some kind. But to me, this is the third vision, We don't need to redesign all the Namco Pro idols, make them older and throw in another story. We already have like the best story ever, We live in the best time ever for IMAS, I will say. The biggest and the brightest. Being able to have these younger, new Kohai idols, to me, means that the Namco Pro idols themselves have proven that they are the top. If they can have Kohai idols also become top idols, then I think that is the biggest proof ever that Namco Pro is shining. And not just Namco Pro, entirely the whole Idolmaster franchise now. We have a big family now. I know not everybody is willing to, adopt all these new franchises, and nobody's forcing you to either. But all I can really say is, give it a chance. If it's not for you, then it's not going to be for you. But, I hope you can enjoy it and see that the spirit of IMAS still does actually live on throughout all these franchises. And with that, I think that's all I really have to say today. Man, I sound super preachy. I don't know. That's not my intention either, too. But those are just like the thoughts that I've been, having, because yeah, I think right now a lot of producers have this kind of uncertainty, this feeling right now. No matter what background you're from, we all have this, like, we're not sure where the franchise goes from here, especially right now in 2017. But we've been through tougher things than this. IMAS has been through tougher things than this, I'd say. Although this is new territory, but yeah. Let's just keep supporting IMAS for another 10 years. And with that, I'm Chuck Exciel. I am out. Hopefully I'll have another podcast up again soon, so please listen to me, and thank you for listening to me today. Johnny!
この番組は放課後ピータイムの提供でお送りしました。